everyone! I'm Modern Mulan, ICP Hub Ambassador ng Isla Camp PH. Maraming salamat for joining us for another episode of IC Stories. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? This is the 67th episode. Ayan, I'm a bit sick, so pagpasensyahan niyo na ako if I sound a little bit weird today, but I'm so glad na we get to spend just one more episode before Christmas. So, ayan, maraming salamat to everyone saying hi sa ating chat. Paul John, hello. HRBC, Spitfire, Esther ZICP, Arcatraz, Miles Morales, Dian. Ayan. Miss your voice, Miss Mulan. Maraming salamat, Spitfire. Again, I'm so sorry. I sound a bit weird today, but bear with me. It's still going to be a very fun episode. So, this one is close to my heart kasi I know so many of my friends would love this. I invited them to watch. Kung nandito kayo guys, pagalawin nyo ang baso, say hi. Yeah, so ang episode natin today is about Nuance. You'll hear more about it in a bit, but let me give you a quick background. So Nuance is a pioneering publishing platform built entirely on-chain, utilizing the Internet Computer Blockchain Network. So it offers a decentralized space para sa mga writers and readers to publish and engage with content without intermediaries. So yeah, I have a bunch of interesting questions lined up. And I know you guys are as excited as I am. So huwag natin patagalin pa. Please help me give warm Filipino welcome to our guest, the founder of Nuance himself, Nick. Hi Nick, how are you?
Hi. That was quite an introduction. Great to be here.
So excited to ask you a bunch of questions today. Thank you so much for gracing us with your time. Maybe give us a quick intro about you. Curious to know what you've been doing in your past life and then how you got into the Web3 space.
Okay. A long time ago, I was my whole career I've been in software, and I started my career in design, so user interface design, visual design. In fact, it was called graphic. Well, I know it's different, but it was graphic design, but specializing in new media. And then I've worked a lot of time doing design, and I kind of worked my way into product management. So I did product management for about 10 years or so in traditional Web 2. And I've been interested in crypto since about 2012. And a lot of my friends were kind of involved in crypto, but as a product manager, there was everything on Ethereum was happening, which was really cool around DeFi. But I'm not an economist guy. I'm not a finance guy, so there was never any use case that was applicable. And then the internet computer comes along, and you can just deploy normal apps on chain.
Yeah. So things that you're actually interested in, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? Like you can do stuff. So a friend of mine who's into crypto called me one day and said, have you heard of the internet computer, Infinity? You should check it out. And I did, and then that's how the story began. Then I put a team together.
Yeah.
And, that's how it started.
Sounds very exciting. It's a rabbit hole for sure. Like once you get in, you're just stuck there forever, and you keep on pulling other people around you as well. But it's so fun. It's very exciting. Emerging tech is always a great space to be in because you get to experiment, you get to discover a lot, and leave your dent into again that emerging tech. So let's talk about Nuance. From your background, I was trying to figure out how you got there, but I guess I need a little more. I need you to shed a little bit more light as to how Nuance was birthed. What?
Okay, so as I mentioned, I was in Web 2, and I was in the publishing industry and various companies. And so, of course, when this sort of opportunity came along where this internet computer came along, and then, we were one of the first apps, right? So we were building before the Definity Genesis, so before the IC Genesis, we were building, in fact. So we were very early, and at the time there was District, so that was social network, that or like a like a Snap thing. There was Discover, right, which was like a Reddit. There was Open Chat, which was like chat. And then in my mind, right, there was this gap, right, of like Medium, right, long form publishing, a gap,
Yeah.
and that fit perfectly with my background. So that's what we started building.
Hmm. Is there a particular name why it's called Nuance? I mean I love this word. I use it like 52 times a day. So I'm
Yeah.
curious as to why you chose it.
Okay. It actually is an important story. So with Web 2, so
Mm,
everybody probably knows this background, right? So Web 1 was decentralized, it was power to the people. Web 2
mm,
comes along, centralizes all of that. So due to the advertisement driven industry, right, where it's clickbait, more clicks, more money, more power. So it's a
mm,
winner takes all kind of paradigm. So, so of course, and what that means is that if you're creating clickbait, that you're deliberately polarizing people, right? So
mm,
you're trying to pull people this way and pull people that way, so you have clickbait and you're getting more clicks. And we all know that the truth is always somewhere in the middle, right? So it's decentralized. So one of the things, like one of our sort of catchphrases for Nuance, right, is we want decentralized opinions because the truth is always nuanced. The truth
yeah,
is in the
yeah,
middle, not black or white, it's gray. And we
yeah.
want decentralized opinions. And so it was all, that's where the name came from.
Mm. Really great story behind it. And I guess my next question would be, how do you think Nuance redefines the relationship between authors and their audience in a decentralized stage?
I think the big difference for us, it's kind of funny because if you look at Nuance, right, we have we can post articles, there's commenting, notifications,
Yeah,
tipping, all that like regular stuff,
the usuals. Yeah.
usual stuff. And
Mm,
what makes Nuance different? Actually, we didn't build, right? That's what Definity
mhm,
built. So what
yeah.
makes Nuance special is the fact that it's decentralized, which means that it's owned and governed by its users. So, in all the traditional Web 2 things, you
Mm,
have basically, there's a centralized entity that owns and makes all the money, and the people who
yeah.
contribute content make a fraction of that money.
Mhm,
And with Nuance, the advantage is that people can own and control the platform upon which they contribute. So I'm contributing to this platform, and I
mhm,
can be rewarded in the token, and with that token, I can then help govern the platform. So it's
mhm.
the whole, in my view, it's the whole Web3 movement, right? It's about power to the people.
Ownership. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I guess with ownership is amazing, and obviously us being in the Web3 space, we are championing this, right? But in these conversations, you can't really take out, or we can't not discuss content moderation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of bad actors in the space, wherever it is, right? In Web 1, the present Web 2, and obviously in Web 3. And so I think content moderation is still important. Um, or we should still be giving equal importance to it as we are in empowering or in giving full ownership, right?
Yeah.
So will this be existing on Nuance,
Yes.
and how will you be managing it in a censorship resistant ecosystem? I'd say.
Yeah. So we have content rules.
Mm-hmm.
So things like, I don't know, no pornography, no, you can't incite violence, all those kinds of things,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and we use Mod Club, so that's a content moderation platform to moderate
Mm-hmm.
our content. So it's a tokenized ecosystem that moderates the content.
Mm-hmm.
So if articles don't comply with the content rules, then they are pulled.
Is this how is this enforced through the audience members? Because there are some decentralized apps who give power to the audience, right, to do this, and then are incentivized to do so, or is it a mix of content members and also is it like AI powered? How is that enforced?
Well, we use a service called Mod Club to moderate content, and they have an ecosystem around content moderation. So they have content moderators, and what they do is they stake in order to say, okay, this article passes the content rules, or
Mhm.
it doesn't, and then they have to have multiple people who agree with that, and if they're wrong, then they lose their stake. So
Ah.
and that's also a Web3 service that we use.
Thanks for clarifying. I've never heard of them, but I'll look into them for sure. That sounds interesting because like I said, with the other projects that we reviewed, how they go about content moderation is still through the audience itself. But yeah, I think that's a great way to balance making sure that again you give full ownership to your creators, your audience, but at the same time making sure that it's a safe environment and no inciting of violence or any other um how do you say it, like grim things
Yes.
are promoted or being tolerated on the platform.
Yeah.
So
And I
now
think,
let's
sorry, just let me add one important point. I
Mhm.
want to add there is that like I said before, it's your, as the users control and own the platform. Yeah, that
Yeah.
includes the content rules. So that means that anybody in the
Ah,
community couldn't
yeah.
propose a change. Like, I
Mhm.
want to be able to incite violence. Okay,
Mhm.
silly example, right?
Mhm.
But they
Yeah.
could propose that to the DAO, right, to the community, and
Mm.
the community, if they were,
They
if they
vote.
wanted, they could say, okay, yes, we all agree with that. We vote for that, and then we would update the terms and condition, or the content rules. So
Well,
it's not just the software itself; it's also the like I said, the rules
the
around it.
power structure and creating the rules. I mean, power to the DAO, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a yeah, that's a great integration of it. And again, very interesting on your take on content moderation. Now let's talk about some project highlights. Can you share maybe some key features and then events that you guys have activated that you are particularly proud of?
Yeah, there's quite a few of them. So yeah, so we've been, like we've been building. I think we had our alpha launch in August
Mhm.
2021. I think
Oh wow.
a million years ago.
Insane.
Like
Yeah, I
literally,
know. I was gonna say it sounds like, I mean, we're in 2024, right? And 2021 sounds like it's just very near. But in crypto, with it being 24/7, man, that was a
yeah,
million years
a
ago. Yeah,
million years
sorry.
ago.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So and we've had several, I suppose, key things. So we, of course, we had
Mhm,
we've been improving UX and things like that. But some of
mhm,
the big things that we are most proud of, I suppose, would be we have. Well, I'll just list off a few features. One is our NFT gated articles, which means that we can
mhm,
publish articles with a limited, essentially a limited edition, right? So
mhm.
just like you can have limited edition physical magazines or whatever,
Yeah.
through the use of NFTs, we can have limited edition articles. So when the author mints an article, they say, okay, there's 100 copies of these, and that's all they can ever be. They can never change it. They can never increase
Yeah,
it. They
yeah.
can never decrease it. It's like
Commendable,
there's
yeah.
going to be 100, and you have to have this NFT in order to be able to read the article, right? So they
Ah,
basically mint 100 NFTs of this article, right, which can then be bought on the platform, right? So users come in, they see the article, they want to read it, and then they get an intro. They can purchase that NFT for however much, and then that goes into their wallet, and then
mhm,
they have access to that article. They can read the
mhm.
article and they can keep it as a souvenir, the NFT, or they could then go to a secondary market and sell it or give it to a friend. But of course, so that's a
Yeah,
big thing. I think having limited edition digital articles, I think, is pretty amazing.
yeah.
So that would
Mhm,
be a
mhm.
cool feature that we're quite proud of.
Oh
Um,
yeah, for sure. Uh-huh.
and then, of course, we have a few other money, like monetary features, such as
Mhm.
tipping, right? So you can tip in crypto to the writers,
Yeah.
so you can support your writers, and also subscription, so you can subscribe to your readers. Your readers can subscribe to you for a monthly or weekly or annual fee, whatever it is. So those kind
Mhm.
of those financial features are pretty important for the for the writer,
Yeah.
because one of
Mhm.
the things that we're like we kind of have three goals with Nuance, right? One is to have the fairest paid writers on the internet, right? We want them to be
Love
paid,
to hear
an
that.
honest day's pay for an honest day's work.
Mm.
We want to the readers to have the most trusted content, right? So
Mhm.
That means that's why we get it moderated. Every article is moderated, and we want it to be the most trusted platform for readers. And then our third pillar is just having amazing UX. So they're kind of our three pillars. Those financial, all those monetary things are obviously for the writers, so they can they can make money.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have a lot of features around, like we just released the faucet, basically. So what that means is that the users of the platform, once a week, they can use a faucet and get some free Nuance tokens, and then they can use that. They have to use those on the platform before they're liquid, and then So and the point of that feature of the faucet really is, what we're trying to do is, because we don't want to give money directly to writers to publish on the platform. What we'd rather do is subsidize the writers through readers. So we basically give everyone free tokens, but you can't use those tokens straight away. And they're like what we call a restricted token, restricted Nuance token. So it's in your wallet, but then you can tip, you can subscribe, you can do other things with it, and then that goes to the writer. But once that's transferred to the writer, then the writer can do what they like with it. They can use it for voting, they can sell it, they can tip other people or whatever. So we're really trying to overcome the cold start problem. So the traditional problem you have, right, is the cold start problem, where you can't get readers because you don't have writers. You don't have writers because you can't get readers.
Chicken and egg. Yeah.
And tokenization, right, the faucet is the thing that overcomes that, because the early adopters get these tokens, and the tokens, start the economy. So I would say they're the things I'm most proud of. Yeah. I would say, I mean, also, like we were one of the first recipients in the first batch of grant recipients from the foundation.
I was gonna say, I mean, let's not forget that, right? Definitely a highlight for sure.
That was amazing. Like when we got that, we thought, we are made. Like, this is it.
Made it for sure.
And then you're like, oh, no, we're not.
The work begins now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've had three since. So we've had 4 of those in total, and we've raised angel money, and of course now it's a DAO, so it's the SNS.
Yeah, and you get to realize that while you celebrate those steps, it also is, you also try to step back and see the bigger picture, that no, the work doesn't stop. We keep on building. We keep on growing. And it's so interesting because when we think of content, people usually think of like videos, right? Short form, long form, like listening to podcasts and such. But what most people don't know is, I feel like reading the blogs, the other articles are still very important, and the impact they have on this in the space is just still so massive. I actually was reading something about this just earlier this morning. So they said that 46 people found reading a more efficient use of time, in contrast to 41% watched online news videos for immediate access and 44% for entertainment. Like, people just consume content in different ways. So it's so interesting that you guys are really focusing on this. And usually we have the community questions at the very end, but I feel like this is a good one from Grifty149. So while Nuance explores supporting other content types like videos, podcasts, or interactive media in the future, and then what payment options or crypto integrations will you have to support for monetization?
Okay. We don't will, so that means in the future. Yes, I think so. We've had several times, and this actually goes to one of the questions you have, I think, in your list. Yeah, we do a lot of user research. So we're always like, our entire roadmap comes from the users, right? So we're like always asking users questions, what's missing, etc. And one theme that has come up many times is actually the podcast thing. Not so in the sense that they want to have text to voice. So they want to be able to listen to articles.
Yes.
So that's a feature that has come up many times from the users. So we will implement that at some point. Videos, we also has come up several times with users about embedding videos in articles. So they might want to, they have the YouTube video or whatever, and they want to maybe write an article around it, or show notes or whatever, and dicka.
Uh,
So that's something else that we would like to implement into, and that would. We don't think we would host them ourselves. We just think more about embedding videos from YouTube or
yes, yes.
Vimeo or wherever.
Find some kind of integration and just connect those, because like I mentioned earlier, people consume content differently. And but yeah, I think having articles is very strong enough, and nobody starts as a super app, right?
Yes.
You have to focus on one thing. You have to make sure you're the best at it. You learn more about your audience and then expand. So you mentioned that you are open to other media types, but I'm hearing that's more of a long-term goal, right? So in terms of
Yep.
short-term, could you maybe give us some alpha? What can we be expecting? What are you
In,
guys focusing on in the
in regards
next
to
few months?
the media types, or just in general?
Mm. In general,
Oh,
for
in general. Okay.
Nuance.
So what are
Yeah,
we working on
next
at the
year
moment?
is very important. It's a bull run, Nick. So let us know.
So yeah,
Again,
we are.
what to be excited about.
Yeah. So what are we working on at the moment? We just made a proposal a week ago, maybe to the DAO to build our next set of features, and
Mm.
those features, like everybody else, is focused on AI. So
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
going to have in Nuance itself, we're going to have AI that can help you write. So
Oh,
it's going to have
cool.
quality, it's going to have grammar, it's going to have tone,
Mm-hmm.
and it can as you write, it's going to be prompting you to say you can write this, in a different way, or maybe
Yeah.
this is a bit condescending. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
big thing we're focused on in the very short term, is to have AI support for writers, which is
Yeah.
particularly important for us because a lot of our writers are writing in English who are not it's not their native language. So I
I
think
was
having
gonna
this
say.
AI assistant is really going to help a lot of our writers. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that the conversation around having AI support for any type of content creation, but more so in writing, has had a very heated debate, right? There are a lot of people who, prefer it, who need it, but there are some who see it as a crutch. But I just want to share a story of our tech lead in ICP Hub Philippines. His name is Sir Ellie. Really great guy, hard worker, and he's so great with words, and he has this gift of explaining such technical, difficult terms, these jargons, into very plain and understandable, digestible content, right? But the problem is, like you said, some of the writers, including him, um, English is really not our first language. So sometimes you kind of need that help, right? It doesn't mean you're not talented, but if you have the thoughts, um, if you kind of know how to structure it in your own language, having that AI help for sure is nothing but good news. But yeah, I'm just sharing that's how I see it, at least. But if other
Yeah.
people think that, it's a crutch, I mean,
I
okay.
mean, my my view on it, and
Mm-hmm.
which could change, but is really around like a lot of people are they read an article, and in my opinion, you should judge the article on the article.
Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
like if you go into one of these agents like ChatGPT or something, and you put in one sentence, write me an article
Oh,
about
yeah.
university. Okay, it's just gonna it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
quality, right? So
Mm-hmm.
then people are not going to read it, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
think you should, and the people who do use AI to like help, improve the grammar or
Mm-hmm.
for idea or for
Yeah.
proofreading. So they're the kinds of things we're looking for, like more like
Mm.
how can it help the writer with proofreading or editing? How can it help structure the article in a better way? Like maybe this
Yes.
paragraph
Yes.
here is better. I don't know, right?
I
So
agree.
yeah, and you should,
Yeah,
in my
other
opinion,
people think that you just ask it directly to write for you, and that's not the case.
no, and
But
that
yeah,
reflects
very.
in the article, in my opinion. And if it doesn't, who cares?
Mhm.
If it's a good article about an interesting topic,
Yeah.
like, does it matter? It
Put it out
really
there.
shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might resonate with someone. I guess it's just different views, and again, it's while AI has been present for how many years now, I still put it under emerging tech in that it just only recently had this massive mind share of Web3 and Web2 people. So we're still trying to figure out the ethics behind it. And I think these conversations, while they're hard, are interesting and should be had. So thanks for letting me pick your brain apart with that. Um, I guess now I'm curious with building such it seems like a very simple platform, but I'm sure there are a lot of nuances there here and there that you guys have to think about and deal with. Are there or have there been any significant challenges that you guys faced? And if so, how did you overcome them?
I think the biggest challenge we've had is because we were very early. That the IC itself has developed a lot in the last 3 years. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, things like the capacity of canisters and stuff like this, right? So we were so early that we had to build these solutions, right? That weren't very scalable or anything like that because that was the tech that was the tech stack that was there.
Yeah.
And now that tech has improved, right? So then we've had to like re-architecture, say, okay, well now canisters can hold so much more, so we don't need to split the data into so many canisters, for example. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say some of those under the hood things have been the biggest challenges. And because it is quite an immature, so we're full 100% Motoko, fully on the IC, etc. And I suppose just to take a quick tangent, one of the
Mm-hmm.
problems we have, for example, with the say text to voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the people want to listen to articles,
Yeah, yeah.
video or whatever it is, right? One of the challenges is like we're really quite proud of the fact that we're 100% on chain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's we're not aware of any or of any service, right, that's available, right, that's on chain that does text to voice, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things that holds us up. It's like, okay, do we want to do these things that would require us to have out calls to Web two things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the challenges. But I think the big challenges we've had, as I said, we're basically building on a emerging platform. So
Yeah.
that's been quite a bit of we've had to build things twice on many occasions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I would say some of the things we built are pretty unique. Like I mentioned before, that limited edition, that NFT gated
Yeah.
articles. We've also
Mhm.
built these things called publications, which means that you can kind of have your own community on Nuance, where you have like your own landing page, your own branding,
Oh,
um,
cool. Mhm.
and all that kind of stuff. And that's quite a. And in there, you also have things like we have like an article approval flow, so you can have an editor and a writer can't publish, but they can submit to the editor, and the editor can approve and publish. So it's
Mhm.
pretty basic workflow,
Yeah.
but it is there. So that would be that was a pretty chunky piece of difficult piece of work that we had to design and build.
Mhm.
I think the big challenge I think that a lot of IC projects face is traction. It's getting the
Yeah, yeah.
users and stuff like that. But we just think that we just keep building, we just keep listening to the users
Mhm.
that eventually that will come.
Yeah. So two questions that popped in my head while you were answering this, but one of our audience member actually sent in the same question that I had. So this one's from Paul John. Since you mentioned, user growth, this has been an Achilles heel, not only in ICP, right, but wherever you are, wherever that you're building something, user growth has been very difficult. But can you share with us any strategies that you guys have in place to onboard more users? Apart from letting the product speak for itself, of course. And then what are some major milestones that you guys have for the bull run next year?
So we yeah, so for us, we've been really focused on getting a product that
Mm-hmm.
can compete with Medium, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
And we've been building that out. And as I said, we've now got things like notifications, commenting. You can post article. We have the publications
Mm-hmm.
thing I mentioned. We have the
Engagement, yeah.
monetization features.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've just released two key features. That's proof of humanity. So
Mm-hmm.
that's from Decide AI. You probably know those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, yeah, proof of humanity. And
Mm-hmm.
then we've also released the Faucet. Now, those two
Sorry,
features,
what is it?
the
For
faucet, the faucet,
ah,
so that
okay.
people
Yeah,
can,
yeah.
faucet their own
Mm-hmm.
tokens once a week. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Now, as I mentioned before, the promise of Web3 is that you can overcome the cold start problem through
Mm-hmm.
tokenization. So we've
Yeah.
kind of just started that journey. So we've kind of been waiting to kind of have, okay, we have a full featured long form publishing platform. That's pretty
Mm-hmm.
good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're starting with the tokenization. We've just literally, I don't know, a week ago maybe, we released these features, the proof of humanity and the faucet, so people can
Mm-hmm.
get their tokens. So now we're really, and that's what we're really hoping is going to really start to kickstart the community.
Yeah.
That's what, and so now we're really just focused on early next year when we're really going to start to really push the community and pump it.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, two questions that popped in my head was the first one, user growth, and then the second one is you mentioned it again, which is community, and they play a significant role in Web3, right? We're very cultish, as my Web2 friends describe it. The Web3 is very cultish, and I'm very proud of that. Actually, we have a very strong sense of community. So, with ICP specifically, what I found was they love giving feedback. Like they're so into it, and I think it's so crucial for startups, for those who are building. Over the years, have you received any interesting feedback? And if so, how have you applied it to Nuance?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a very like we have a like it. I would say it is a small community, but it is a very strong community that like we've been, as I
Yeah.
said, known for a while. So we've
Mm-hmm.
had users for several years who are constantly publishing with us,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I would say we of course we appreciate that, and we need to start to grow that core community. And I
Yeah.
think, geez, I don't know, like, because as I said, we get all of our input from users. So we do user interviews, we speak to them. They're like, for example,
Mm-hmm.
when we're building a new feature, we'll not only will we uh, get the ideas from the users, but then we build a mock of those in Figma or whatever, and then we demo those to users to get feedback and things like that. So we're very very much a part of the community, and we really
Mm-hmm.
rely on the community for that feedback. And in some ways, we're also the community, right? So I think,
Yeah. Yeah.
the community, as you say, is everything in Web3. It's what makes the big difference. It's not the users and the provider. It's the community around the platform.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, are there any like specific community feedback that help play in shaping the direction and the decisions in building Nuance?
Um, I think, well, notifications was a really popular request from the
Mm,
users. They
yeah.
can follow the interaction that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, I suppose, a much sought after feature.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think like nearly everything we built has come from, except for the very basics, like title,
Mm-hmm.
body, right?
Yeah.
Like apart from the very very basics, everything's come from the users and the community. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, do I think of specific examples? I can think of the ones like I said, like the notifications, but
Mm-hmm.
essentially everything we build has at one point come from a user.
Yeah, that's very cool. Also, you really have to listen to users because they're the one using it, right? And it just doesn't make sense to not be. I love what you said that essentially you're also the community, and that just shows how important the role that they play in you guys. They're really a part of the team, especially with the DAO, right?
Yeah.
Um, in terms when you're building out Nuance, you kind of imagine who your users are going to be, right? Who your creators are going to be, who your users are going to be. when you do that, is it a specific person for you? Is it like a very niche group, or are you at a stage still where it's more of a general thing? Whoever, mhm.
Yeah,
Sorry, yeah,
I
go ahead.
think we also we kind of have a like a like an experimental mindset. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, like we the IC community. Okay, a lot of those guys are
Mm-hmm.
publishing on Nuance, but that is
Yeah, yeah.
that's kind of a given.
Mm-hmm.
But what we did was in the beginning, we sort of, and this is, I think, pretty traditional product management stuff. We
Mm-hmm.
noticed in the beginning that there was a lot of content on crypto, right? So we were general, like totally general, like shotgun approach.
Yeah.
Come, we
Mm-hmm.
noticed a couple of niches, science fiction. Science fiction writers and some
Oh,
really good science fiction writers were coming on Nuance, right? Like writing
interesting.
like novel, because you can also, with a publication, you can also write novels. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Science fiction. In recent months, a lot of AI, right? So that
Mm-hmm.
topic. So
Yeah.
science fiction, AI, and then of course crypto and IC. So those are, and also enemy, a little bit of sort of Japanese kind of enemy kind of stuff, right?
Ah, interesting.
And a lot of science fiction, and of course that when you think about it, it makes sense because science fiction, it's about the future and blockchain,
Yeah, yeah.
unstoppable
Tie it
software.
together. Uh-huh.
So now what we do is we then say, okay, well, organically we're getting these niches. So let's nail those niches, right?
Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
it's science fiction, we really go after science fiction content because
Mm-hmm.
that happened organically. So that's an
Mm-hmm.
example of how we've kind of let we let the community decide what is popular, and then try to double down on those areas.
Yeah, yeah. That makes sense. I find it so again, it seems like a common sense, right? Science fiction, anime, they're so popular in web too. But for some reason I find it very intriguing and again interesting that they're also very popular on a publishing platform that I because in my head I thought it's just about crypto and blockchain, but I guess that's where you really are heading, right? I mean, we
Yeah,
begin to talk about the tech underlying tech behind it. That's common sense, but then finally, it must be so exciting as a founder to see some branches forming and eventually maybe entertainment could creep in and more um I would say like not popular, but more common and different more types of content would show up on Nuance. It's,
yeah.
it's
I mean, some
incredible.
of these people, like some of these science fiction writers, like they're like my age, like old, right, or
Mhm.
older. They're
You're
not
young. Come on.
people,
Too
they're not
humble.
blockchain people. They're just writers, and they say, "Oh,
Yeah,
hang
yeah.
on, I can publish on here, and people can tip me directly, and I own the
Yeah.
content, and no one can ever take it down." Yep,
Uh-huh.
they're like,
Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, and one more thing. So when we talk, when I interview other ICP based projects, um, it's so funny because when someone is building a new social media app or like any other platform where you can post more content, they other people take it as, oh no, don't use web 2 platforms anymore, they're bad, they're centralized. And while we are building towards a decentralized platform, we're empowering more creators, we're also not saying that you have to let go completely of medium, right? If you create an article, you can post it there, but we're also saying that, hey, we're building something exciting that will incentivize you and your audience. So you already have the content, post it here and let's see what happens and we grow together. And that's a interesting conversation that I often ask founders, what do you think about that view of what I just shared? Do you agree or do you feel like yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. So let's say this. I'm a writer. I've been writing on Medium, 3 articles a week for three
Mm-hmm.
years. I've got 10,000 followers right on Medium, right? It's unrealistic to think those people are going to drop everything and come over to
Yeah.
Nuance, right?
Yeah.
And start again. It's just not realistic, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But
I agree.
what they can do, as you say, right, is they post on Medium, right, and they can also post on Nuance, right, and
Mm-hmm.
they can slowly build their Nuance community. So we even offer a service, right? And what that means is that we will syndicate your content on Nuance, right? So that means you post on Medium, we'll
Yeah.
post it for you on Nuance, and we'll do that. We'll set you up a publication. We'll make it look good. We'll cut and paste the content across and make it look good.
Mhm.
But when you share it on your other socials, like on X or wherever, yeah, please share the Nuance link. So that way you're keeping your community on Medium, right? And then
Yes.
at the same time you're
Yes.
growing your Nuance community. And
Mhm.
how, in ideal world, right, you would, maybe even put the first paragraph on Medium and say for the rest of the article, go to Nuance,
Read
right?
it on. I was gonna say you could do that.
So it's kind of like it is this thing where for a while we realize that, right? So we do offer that service for products or companies who want to make that transition. We can help them make that
Mhm.
transition where they're syndicating content across their platforms and growing their Nuance audience.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, why pick, right? If you can have the best of both worlds, why
Yeah,
not? Go ahead and see where you grow. But yeah, I appreciate that you mentioned some very specific strategies that maybe some of our audience members could apply um, should they want to start creating on Nuance. Yeah, very, very interesting. And I think the existence of one platform doesn't necessarily diminish the value of the other, right? Instead,
yeah.
they would eventually, um, have the synergistic effect. Um,
I think on
uh,
that, sorry, just let me interrupt one bit. It's like I think
yeah, yeah, go
one of
ahead.
the things that is I find, if it adds authenticity, right? Like if you're writing about Web3 and you're doing
Hmm.
it on Medium, right?
Yeah,
There's a
disconnect. Yeah,
what's going on, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
sure, Medium has the user base where people are already reading crypto stuff. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you should also be trying to build the thing that you're supposedly supporting, right? You should also
Yeah,
be trying to build that
yeah.
a bit. So yeah, that's kind of my thought on it.
That's a very interesting perspective as well. That makes sense. Um, yeah, if you're a Web3 enthusiast, it just makes sense that you're also building and actually using, not just talking about the benefits of Web3 and be a part of growing that ecosystem too. Interesting.
Yeah.
Um, are there any plans? So in IC Stories, obviously we interview a lot of ICP projects. This is our 67th episode. Has been insane. We talked to a lot of great ICP projects. Um, are there any that you're thinking of partnering up with or are already in partnership with uh, to maybe enhance user experience or other features maybe on your platform?
Yeah, I mean, we have recently integrated with District. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar
Mhm.
with District.
Yeah,
We do
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
social networks, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, so we've had made an integration with District, so you have your Nuance articles within District. We
Mhm.
also have the same in OpenChat. So
Oh, cool.
we're pretty tight with OpenChat guys and District guys.
Mhm.
Met with this well because in the beginning there weren't that many projects, right? So we kind of all
Yeah,
know each
yeah.
other
It was
back
a
then.
short list, yeah. So might as well work
Um,
together. Uh-huh.
And yeah, I mean, we're all. I mean, we use, for example, we use Mod Club, which is a part of Decide AI. So we use that for content moderation. We integrate
Mhm.
with District.
Mhm.
We have, as I said, also integration with OpenChat, or they built that integration.
Mhm.
So yeah, we're very much into using whatever we can. So we use we integrate with Kinnick and a
Mhm.
bunch of other
Mhm.
things. So we're very much want to integrate and collaborate as much as possible with other IC projects.
That's great to hear. Like I said, it's um of course it has significantly grown the number of builders and projects in this space since you guys started building, which is great news, right? And it's always so just exciting and I guess I can't find another word to put it, but like heartwarming to see ICP based projects so just work together and help each other out. Yeah,
Yeah, they're
we
pretty,
have.
a
Mhm.
bunch of pretty nice people, I have to say.
I know it. The the events are so fun that I remember walking into, even though I'm part of the ICP Philippines, obviously some of the when I first started attending international ICP events, I was so nervous. So I'm like, I don't know these people. I'm kind of shy. But when I walked in, the energy was just different, and you could literally just come up to anyone, even like a founder or just a longtime community member, and just ask them questions. Like, no questions are stupid. They welcome everything. They're just very, very kind and nice people. And they would actually ask you who you need and want to meet and would make the introduction. Like, very generous and
Yeah,
yeah, amazing people. So we have a few questions from the community. You mentioned earlier that you have like proof of humanity. Was that a term that you used?
proof of humanity. Yeah.
Spitfire, yeah, so Spitfire asks, could you walk them maybe through the process of doing so, of this verification, and have there been any challenges or common questions that you guys have been getting in users doing so?
Not yet. We only just released it,
Mm.
but there was some issue where you had to, in some cases, you had to log out and log in for it to work properly. But
Uh-huh.
minor issue. Um,
Happens.
no, so how it works is we use the Decide AI proof of humanity module,
Yeah.
right? So we
Yeah.
integrate with them. And how it works is, on their website, you link your internet identity,
Mm-hmm.
and then it does like a face scan,
Mm-hmm.
and then it registers. Use your biometrics of your face, and then you're registered. And then in Nuance, you just click the verify button. It invokes that kind of process, and then it proves that you're a human. And you can't do that more than once, basically per internet identity. So there's like
Yeah.
a, you know, I think maybe there's a better term for it. It's not just proof of humanity, but it's proof of personhood, or whatever the term is, right? Where it's like they're
Mm-hmm.
an actual person who is a user. And the
Yeah.
reason we
Yeah.
did that with the faucet was that otherwise people can just set up many accounts
Mm-hmm.
and then just use the faucet, and they can tip their own, and they can just
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, I was gonna say it's people could abuse it, but yeah,
Exactly.
with this type of structure in place, that would definitely prevent that and just keep the engagement real and organic.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's not a bot, right? So on Nuance, you can
yeah,
see
yeah,
the
yeah.
icon.
Mhm.
This is not a bot. This is a real person who
Yes,
has, who has written
yes.
this article. Yeah.
Especially in the space, it's so highly botted. Like
Yeah.
the I mean, just a few months back, again, this has been recent, but since we work 24/7, like in crypto, the narrative, it changes so fast. But one of the recent narratives were tap to earn, right? And that was just heavily botted. So it's nice to hear projects that, don't tolerate that or have better systems in place to make sure that that doesn't happen. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, we initially released the faucet some months back,
mhm,
without proof of humanity, and like within about a
mhm.
week we had to turn it off because we thought we had this tight knit community, and like people are
Yeah.
not going to abuse it. We're so naive, right? Our community is different. Our community, there's no grifters.
Different. Where yeah.
So we release it, and then people were like posting pointless articles, and I was getting like
Oh my god.
500 token
Yeah.
tips. Like, yeah. So we just had to turn it off. It's just like,
Mm.
come on, guys.
Yeah.
But
That's so funny.
so then we had to turn it off, and then we had to implement proof of humanity, and then we can re-enable it basically.
Well, that's how we learn, right? You said earlier that it's basically or launching something is just an experimental phase, and that's how you learn. And now we have a better system in place.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we also covered earlier was AI.
Mhm.
You guys are adding AI to help with grammar and
Tone,
other
quality of
yeah.
writing. It's really quite amazing what you can do with it. Yeah.
One of our questions from the community is from Espresso. Do you also plan on leveraging AI for recommendations or content curation?
So I think this is from the reader perspective,
Yes,
I
yes.
suppose. Not yet, but
Mhm.
it is one of the things that is very much on our minds, because we have some, good advisors. Some of
Mhm.
them are, from Web two publishing companies.
Yeah.
They said that surfacing content to readers is the biggest challenge everybody has. So whether it's
Mhm.
Facebook or Twitter or whoever read it, right,
Mhm.
their biggest challenge is getting the right content to the readers, to surfacing that content.
Yes. Yes.
In some ways, we're lucky that we don't have like thousands of articles published every day, right? But when we, as we're slowly growing, that it will become a problem. So in that
Mhm.
case, we'll absolutely be implementing recommenders for content.
Yeah. I think this has also been a very interesting shift. Now that we're talking about algorithms, so before, like Facebook, Twitter, TikTok would all these social media would push out content from people you follow, but in TikTok recently, what they did was they changed it. So now they try to read you as a user, like the things that you're interested in, the topics you're interested in. So instead of seeing people that you follow, now they're just pushing more so or attributing the things that you consume more. So,
Yeah.
is that something that you will be doing, or will you stick to the usual? We'll show you whoever you follow, not your interests.
Yeah. Currently, we only have it who you follow. So on Nuance, you can follow topics, or you can follow authors, writers, or publications. Yeah.
Ah, I
So that
see. I
so
see.
that's kind of like a
That
pool,
kind of
right?
covers. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Pool of
A
content, but for the
balance.
content, which is what I think you're talking about here.
Yes.
Yeah, this is one of the other problems that we have, right, in this Web3 space, right? They're
Yeah.
very sensitive about privacy, right?
Yes. Yes.
Like, you mentioned TikTok, right? TikTok know
Uh-huh.
more about you than you know about you, right?
Oh, that's insane. That is
Right?
true.
We don't want any part of that, right? We like
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Nuance, right? Like we don't have any like you can sign up completely anonymously. You have to do
Mhm.
proof of humanity, but that we don't take email address. We have no idea who you are, right? And that's kind of how we want it to be, right? So we don't want to like, we ask ourselves the questions like, do we even want to keep track of what they read?
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not, right? Maybe people
Mhm.
don't want that. Maybe people don't
Yeah.
want that. Nuances tracking everything that I read on Nuance. It's like maybe
Mhm.
not. So,
Mhm.
so we always try to we have this balancing act between really
Yes.
like hardcore preservation of privacy, right?
Mhm.
Versus trying to personalize the experience. And I think
Yes.
like
It's
on
a
the
fine
you probably
line between that, though.
yeah, it is,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah. Yeah.
people want personalization, but that comes at the cost of privacy
Yes.
in some cases,
Yes. It's a tough
right?
battle.
So it's a tough battle. But at the same
Mhm.
time, like Brave, I don't know if you know that browser, but they have a search engine, right? And like it's not like with Google sometimes, like I swear you're talking about a product like vacuum cleaners.
Yes.
Today you've got vacuum
It
cleaners, like
shows up.
there's no mystery, right?
Uh-huh.
But then Brave, right? Like if you search for vacuum cleaners, you get vacuum cleaner ads. Great.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm. Mhm.
right. So you can personalize without being invasive, and that's kind of
Yes.
where we're trying to be.
I like that. You can personalize without being invasive.
Yeah.
It's that's very hard to see in present day. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that we are trying to build a future where that's something that you could still attain. Like you just feel human again. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's just so insane how again it's so invasive. It's so it
Creepy.
knows you more than yourself, like you said.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah. I'll be thinking about this over dinner tonight for sure. You are correct. Um, Thank you so much for answering that. We have one more question from the. Well, we have 570 questions, but unfortunately, we have time for just one more.
You can send
Would
them to
you
me.
like?
And I'm happy to respond. By the way, so
Yes,
yeah.
or they could be a part of your community and then they could ask you directly as well. I mean, we encourage that. Um, I usually let my guests or our guests to pick the final question. Do you see anything interesting or any topics that we've yet to cover that you want to answer? It's a lot. I'm so sorry in advance, but there are a lot of questions being sent in.
Oh, you want me to pick or the community to pick? Sorry.
You.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
anything that you're
Um,
interested in answering or
let me have a look here. Sorry. I'm just picking one that comes. This is from HRBC. HRBC. Are there any significant partnerships in place to boost adoption or expand functionality?
mhm,
Suppose I'm just picking that one because, well, it's is because
recent?
one of the things we want to do, that
Yeah.
one, yeah, is we're at the stage now where we think, okay, we're ready, because if you try to do a marketing push or whatever before you're ready, people are going to come to your platform, right, and they're going to
Mhm.
use it and go, this sucks, I'm never coming back, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we think we're now at the point where we have, as I said, we have a solid product. We
Mhm.
have to force it to overcome the cold start problem with tokenization, proof of humanity to make it safe.
Yeah.
So we're kind of now at the point where we really want to try and build the community with as many partnerships as possible. And as I said, we're pretty tight with the district, right? We're heavily integrating
Mhm.
with district with that
Yeah.
social network, and of course we're already on OC as I mentioned, but we're very much focused on throughout 2025 we have a couple of the things we want to build on, like we want to do an
Things you're
improve
cooking.
the
Yeah.
UX, AI, but we're also really focused on building the community and trying to overcome that cold start problem now.
Many, many exciting things ahead. I mean, you already have this amazing product, and it's just so exciting. Just hearing throughout the hour the things that you want to build and the things that you guys are focusing on currently. Um, Maybe before I let you go, I know you're a very busy person, but can you give a maybe a message to our community, both for builders, those who want to build on ICP, things that maybe they would like to think about, and then also to those who want to create content on Nuance? Do you have any tips or, again, any other things that you've noticed that creators apply?
Okay, for the first part of that question, I would say the big difference I think between building Web 2 and Web 3 products is this whole tokenization and community thing. So
Hmm.
really, don't treat it as an afterthought. You really have to take in the tokenization into the design, like how
Embedded in
embedded
the
into your
foundation.
product.
Yeah.
I'm going to build a Web 2 product and then I'm going to sell a token.
Mm,
That's not it.
yeah.
So I would say make sure you take that into consideration around the community. You really have to take that into place if you're building.
Mm,
And then for Nuance itself, I would say, go there, read, sign up, post.
yeah.
If you're publishing somewhere else, reach out to us on OC or our Discord, and we'll cross post for you
Yeah. Yeah.
free. Um, and not just us, right? Support everybody, right? So
Yes.
OC, District, Discover, like there's a million of, I mean, I'm only mentioning these guys because these guys are always on the front of my mind, but there's
Yeah.
so many products out there at the moment on the IC. So, put your money where your mouth is and support
Yes.
the community, because without that support, we won't reach that threshold where we get mass
Mm.
adoption.
I agree. I agree. Nick, you have been so kind and, again, so generous in answering all of our questions. Thank you so much for making time for ICP Hub Philippines. I hope this is not the last time that you're here. If there are any other, changes or updates, events, anything at all that you could think of, we would love to have you here. And we still have so many other questions that we haven't gotten to yet. So many topics for us to cover. So hopefully you come back here and maybe with other team members so we get to see, different perspectives and building as well. But yeah,
Will you
thank
get
you
a
so
copy-
much, Nick.
Can I get a copy of these questions? Because I could write an article to respond to them actually.
Yeah, sure. Yes, we can send you maybe screenshots of questions that we didn't get to answer.
And then
That'd
the only
be
other thing, sorry, I would say, other than get on Nuance and write, is we're always looking for user feedback. So that typically
ah
involves, right, reach out to us on OC, whatever. We can have a call, right? We'll show
yeah.
you something that we're building to get feedback. So we're always very much interested in user feedback. So anybody who is using Nuance and wants to help shape the platform, then
Yes.
please, reach out to us on OC or Discord. We'd love to talk to you.
I'll make sure to put all of the community links in the description box after this episode so that they
Yeah.
could do that easily, find you guys faster. Again, Nick, as we say in the Philippines, maraming salamat. Thank you so much for making time. And we hope to see you back here in the Philippines. And then maybe we could meet and do a full on podcast and just
That'd be
talk about,
amazing.
nuance.
Well,
Again,
thank you very much
thank you so
for
much,
having me,
Nick.
and thanks for your time.
Have a good day.
Thanks
Bye.
very much. Bye bye.
Ayan, guys, sana na-enjoy nyo 'tong episode na 'to. Grabe, sobrang daming mga tanong. And sabi niya, to those questions na hindi natin nasagot, I'll be sending that over to them and maybe they could create articles or maybe just answer or find ways to answer po yung mga questions ninyo. So yan, again, maraming maraming salamat po. Congratulate lang natin yung mga napili natin na questions for this episode. Gifty149, Paul John, Spitfire Espresso, HRBC, maraming maraming salamat for sending these in. Make sure to message us sa Twitter or X. I have it linked sa ating description box para maklaim nyo yung ICP rewards ninyo. Again, thank you so much everyone. And this is our last episode for the year, I think. So, ayan, greet ko na kayo ng Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, just in case wala na tayo other episode. But yeah, thank you so much, you guys. Hopefully you join us for another episode next year. Wow, that's in like 2 weeks. Insane. Grabe. Sobrang bilis ng 2024. We're cooking up big things for 2025. So if you are not a part of our community yet, please join us. Again, links in the description. If you want to be a part of Nuance community as well, welcome po kayo dyan. Sabi nga ni Nick, if you want to give community feedback, if you want to even set up a call with them and hear more about what they're building and how you can be a part of growing that ecosystem of all that DApp, welcome na welcome po kayo. So yeah, again, thank you so much for joining us for episode 67. This has been your host, Modern Molon. Maraming maraming salamat everyone. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Bye!